The first reflection and prediction that we are going to notate here is that the school San Bartolomé La Merced, the tension that they have is the use of L2 as the only communicative tool within the learning environments inside and outside the classroom. The kids are not allowed to use too much the L1 nor teachers unless it is extremely necessary to do so. In this case, we have a positive and a negative connotation. The positive one is just as Coyle says, is that the language should be learned in context. As we know, language should be taught and learned in context to have a meaningful learning process. While the negative aspect that we find here is that because of this imposement to the kids, they are going to be feel frustrated because they're not allowed to use their full linguistic repertoire. So we are here minimizing the kids with their language use. And in order to do that, or in order to prevent that, one of the ideas from Richard taken from their proposal in the future education is that the language should be a system of communication used to negotiate shared meaning and understanding of ideas. In this order, the kids can use either L1 or L2 to communicate inside the lesson while they start feeling confident enough to use L2 as the only communicative tool. In that way, we are going step by step, going through the language learning process in a friendly language environment system.
The aspects that are considered to transform bilingual learning environments include, as Araki 2021 mentioned, well-being is a holistic vision of education, which recognizes that learners need a balanced set of cognitive, social, and emotional competence to achieve positive outcomes in schools and in life, including mental health as a key learning goal. Schools must become places where thinking is valued, visible, and actively promote. Stakeholders must settle for nothing less than environments that brings out the best in learners. Take the learning to the next level, allow for great discovery, and propel both individual and group forward into a lifetime learning, and make learners take an active role in decision-making to become change agents. Gimnasia Campestre Manuel School is a good example for caring about learners' well-being. It has been designed to involve different natural and artificial ecosystems for learners' learning process, where all members are actively involved with the learner's social and cultural experiences, which makes them feel loved, cared for, loved, valued, respect, in a safe and healthy learning condition, and have a better school performance. Thanks to the school climate, learners feel safe to speak in foreign language and interact in different bilingual learning atmospheres. Emmanuel School is also a good example of cognitive flexibility, dynamic assessment, and collaborative work, as teachers can divert learners' attention in their own one from a healthy situation to a more appropriate one by designing diverse bilingual learning environments. Measure is equal in every activity. By the end of the years, learners have to present an oral presentation that involves parents and community, where they demonstrate to the development of English exercise their process during the school year, being a great example of collaborative work.
The OECD mentions that the learning environment is founded on the social nature of learning and actively encourages well-organized cooperative learning, along with the collaborative work. Having virtual spaces and online hybrid innovation lead the bilingual learning environments into the future. Being able to learn anywhere at any time enables better learning, so technology is making ubiquitous learning possible. According to Galantis and Co., technologies do not in themselves change anything in education. Furthermore, virtual spaces need to be designed in order to implement more interactive and innovative tools. 21st century skills, critical thinking, meaningful lifelong and life-wide learning, reflexive pedagogies such as problem solving, creating cooperative products and artifacts to achieve better learning. EDUCAUSE states that 2 years into the COVID-19 pandemic, institutions are shifting from emergency to long-term planning for new technologies that enable more adaptive decision-making and more flexible teaching and learning experiences. So technology and the 7E affordances contribute to upgrading bilingual education. Otherwise, the designer of the bilingual learning environments need to realize that being bilingual is being seen as a whole individual, despite how the acquisition happens. And adding another language to their full linguistic repertoire implies changing and expanding the learner's identity. As a consequence, learners will be able to adapt and communicate in any situation and context. They will communicate and be able to do things and have jobs that have not been even created yet. For this, Start Languages is an innovative pedagogical strategy to be used in the bilingual learning environments or the new normal scenarios, because it allows changing from traditional bilingualism to dynamic bilingualism.
Besides fostering all these aspects and consideration are required for what is coming. The OECD Learning Compass defines the competence made up of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values that students need to fulfill their potential and to contribute to the well-being of their communities and orientates learners of all ages toward the better future.
To conclude, bilingual education is redefined and more flexible. Learning is not a finite task. Learning is dynamic, and bilingual learning environments are transforming to provide the tools that learners will need to face in the uncertain future.